Right Ambitions fans. Now, to be honest, I remember writing down this video title back a few months ago before the season ended. And I wanted to do a video breaking down who is the most ruthless person in the show or in the series. And I was going to do it in categories like, okay, here are my 5 characters to put up for debate. Stephanie, is it Evan, is it Steven, is it Hunter, is it Damien? But to be completely honest, I think it's Irene. I think it's Stephanie's mother. The fact that I was going to put Stephen Carlisle at the top of the list, believe it or not. I thought he was going to be the most ruthless because of that slick speech he gave at the retirement party where he put Stephanie in her place. That was one of the best scenes of the entire series. But the thing is, he did team up with Evan, which was good to see. But at the same time, it's like, it's almost like, and I love making these comic book references, especially for the people who actually get them. When people say Batman is better than Superman because Batman beat him in The Dark Knight Returns, but then you also think about it, Batman needed help from Green Arrow with the Kryptonite arrow in order to incapacitate Superman to beat him up and actually, quote unquote, win the fight. When you look at Stephen Carlisle, it's like he did defeat Stephanie and Irene in one swoop, but of course he got help from Evan, not to mention Marilyn and her husband. So here's my thing. I think Irene, the fact that Stephanie is willing to blackmail her father in order to get his position. But I feel like, kind of like Victoria, and if you watch The Oval, kind of a similar situation, where Victoria is scared to death of her parents. I feel like Stephanie is the same when it comes to her mother, because if you listen, her mother is kind of like the only person she actually listens to. Like, Irene isn't, one to just take a moment to sit down with Stephanie to calm her down. I think that Irene is more loving, while Steven is more the disciplinarian, but he does care about his daughter, because there were scenes where he would actually tear her apart verbally, because usually she's the one that acts out, disobeys him, obviously tries to usurp power from behind his back, but at the same time he does show a loving side towards his daughter, because Irene was trying to tell Steven that it's time to retire so me and you can, have time together, be good grandparents, travel, that kind of stuff, like even go to see Carly in like Europe, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, he's like, I'm not going to take this lying down. I was the one that climbed up from nothing when the Pure Force tried to bury me. And then, I made this law firm. So I'm going to stand tall and, put my daughter, disbar Stephanie so she can have more time to work on the foundation with her mother and, be the first lady of Atlanta, that kind of thing. But I think Irene, finding out that she was the one that had Pella have Joaquin kidnapped, and then her way of cutting through you with her tongue, just with the words she uses, my gosh. Like, don't get me wrong, like Natasha and Greg Peters, they're both ruthless. Damien is like one of those people where he's the person, it's like, okay, what happens when you take 2 people? When you take the one person who can do anything, but the one person who isn't afraid of doing anything. It's almost like Batman and the Joker. He can do anything he sets his mind to, but he won't kill. But then you have someone with no rules like the Joker. What happens when you put them together? Well, you get the Batman Who Laughs, which is one of my favorite comic book characters in DC right now. But when you think of Damien, he's the kind of person who is just as capable and intelligent as an Amara, given the fact they both work in the same field. But then you have someone who is as ruthless as yeah, it's almost like you have the knowledge and abilities and capabilities of Amara, but then you put that with the drive and ambition of Stephanie and put it together, and then you just kind of gender swap it and you get a Damien. So he's definitely, I think he's more crazy than ruthless. So my vote is for Irene. Carlisle as the most ruthless person in the series. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of characters in this series that are top contenders for the #1 spot, but while I was making my character list, I'm like, you know what, there's no need of me doing like a 20-minute video, because I can list out numerous reasons why Stephanie deserves the title, while Stephen Carlisle deserves the title, Greg Peters deserves the title, and so on. But I think Irene, who's only appeared in what, not even 5 episodes, and she stole the title. It's just one of those situations where it was a no-brainer when I just took a moment to really reflect on it. And I mean, Stephanie is ruthless, but I think she's too emotionally driven. Like, Irene had to calm her down. Like, you know, I was the one that made that bitch a star, and it's like, you need to calm down. I want you to be the president someday. You know what? Evan and your father, they're just stepping stones, that kind of thing. So Stephanie definitely lets her emotions get in the way, while you have her parents who both look at the big picture. But at the end of the day, you know, Irene is the one that's like, you know, Evan and your father are both short-sighted, but I'm the one who can really see what is going on years from now. So Irene wins it, in my opinion. With that being said, comment your thoughts below. Make sure you follow me on social media. Links are in the description. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss out whenever I post new content. And make sure you sign the petition to help save the series.